Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and a new video. So for today's video, I thought I would show you guys some books that I want to unhaul because it is spring, and spring for me means spring cleaning, getting rid of a lot of stuff, just like rinsing your home. It's just a must during the spring. I don't know why, but it's just something that I need to do and that I have done. It's always so nice to get rid of books that you know you never will reread again, just don't really care for them as much as you used to, or just like you know that they would be better appreciated in someone else's home. Just, you know, make room for new books. And there's something special about it, even though I have such a hard time letting go of things. But I did manage to pick out some books that I do want to unhaul, and yeah, these are the ones. Also, this is not my usual filming location with sit-down videos, but this is both more comfortable for me, and I feel like it's better lighting, so just please, I hope it's okay. I do like to have my bookshelves in the background, but I can't, like, this is just so much better, and I have an actual chair to sit on rather than on the floor, and my entire body hurts, so I hope it's okay. And yeah, here are some books that I'm going to unhaul. The first book that I'm going to unhaul is Anna and the French Kiss, and this is a collector's edition. I unhauled this entire series. There are 3 books. I don't know, last year or something, but I did keep this one because I thought it was a really gorgeous copy, obviously, and I did enjoy the series, so I wanted to keep this one. But now when I looked through my shelves, I thought it's time for this one to go as well, unfortunately. This is a very cute series. It's one of those teenage romances that's abroad. It was very good and very exciting at the time, but this is the series that I'm never going to read again. Partly because it was not that special, but also because I feel like I'm over the age that I want to read about this. So yeah, I'm just never going to reread this series, and even though it's a beautiful copy to keep on my shelves, I feel like someone else would appreciate this more. So unfortunately, this one is going, but it's such a beautiful copy. So if you do like the series, I do recommend getting this one because it's a really nice copy. The next book I'm going to unhaul is Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. I think this is the first and only book that I've ever unhauled by Colleen Hoover. Usually I do enjoy her books, and she's obviously such an overhyped author of book talk and stuff, but I've enjoyed her books. I'm not just saying that because they're popular. I've actually enjoyed her books and her characters and her stories, except this one. This was an exception. I had a reading vlog on this when I read it, and this book just made me anxious. I fucking hated it. We have 2 perspectives in this book, so we follow a mother, so we have that like adult perspective, and then we follow her teenage daughter. So we have a mother perspective and a daughter perspective, which was originally very cool, a cool concept and an interesting concept. So like I enjoy the mother's side of it all because you got to follow the mother and on her life, her dating adventures, and then the teenage daughter as she was dating, and you know, just, but this daughter, Clara, was such a bitchy person and so rude to her mother, and it had chaos in it, family drama, just a lot of stuff that gave me anxiety because I can't deal with that much drama. And so if you just had the mother's perspective, I would enjoy this book, but we could have left out Clara, the daughter, because I did not enjoy that. It had some beautiful and heartbreaking scenes in here, but overall as a book, I did not like it. And you know this if you have watched my reading vlog on it. I hated it. It gave me so much anxiety that I almost couldn't finish it. That's the level of it. So yeah, I'm not going to keep this. The next book I'm going to unhaul is going to be Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Sapia. This is one of the first books that I ever read, like when I started back my reading journey as a teenager, and I really enjoyed it. It has really cool characters. It talks about mental health and how it can feel to be alone and stuff, and it was a very beautiful and important book, but this is something that I'm never going to reread again, unfortunately. And even though I really enjoyed it, I feel like someone else would enjoy it more and maybe read it for the first time, you know, because I'm just never going to reread it again, even though I really enjoyed it. So don't get me wrong, if you're wanting to read this book, read it. But we have this again with teenagers. Like I'm not as interested anymore in following teenagers because I'm not a teenager anymore. So I feel like I've just outgrown that. But it does talk about very important topics like mental health. So it was a really good book, but I'm never going to read it again. So I'm getting rid of it. Next book I'm going to unhaul is going to be Fallen by Lauren Kate. This, you guys, I don't know how to explain this book. It's one of those iconic ones, kind of like Twilight, kind of like Beautiful Creatures, one of those, like that era of time. Let me tell you, like, I've never read this book and yet I'm unhauling it. Don't judge me, don't judge me, let me talk. I'm going to explain. So I bought this a few years ago because I wanted to, like, I don't know, have fun with it, but I've not been interested in picking it up. And let me tell you, 13-year-old me would have loved this book. I would have adored it, I would have obsessed over it, but I'm not 13 anymore. And even though I could read it and like have fun with it, I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm saying that without really knowing it, but you know, it's been sitting on my shelves forever and I've not picked it up. So I feel like that says something, you know, like I have to trust that I would have picked it up if I wanted to throughout these years. So, but 13-year-old me would have loved this because it has that concept that I love that we have with Twilight and Beautiful Creatures, that we have this one girl that is so special and then we have this one guy that obsesses over her, and it has magic, fantasy, supernatural stuff. It just has all the things that I would have adored, but it's a little too late. So unfortunately, this is going to go. The next book I'm going to unhaul is going to be House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. I actually really enjoyed this book and I do have a reading vlog on it if you're interested. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool, creepy fantasy book. It's a very short one, but yeah, I really enjoyed it, but again, not anything too special, and it's something that I'm never going to reread again. We followed these three sisters that disappeared when they were children, and then they reappeared a month later and they were changed, you know, something was up. And you got to follow these three sisters as they've grown up and trying to figure out like what's wrong with them, what happened when they were abducted when they were kids, because something inside of them changed. Like, it was all very mysterious and exciting like that, and I did really enjoy the concept, but it's not something I'm going to read again, and I feel like someone else would appreciate it more, so I'm going to unhaul this. The next book I'm going to unhaul is Beyond the Break by Heather Bushta. This is a book that I read a while ago and I enjoyed it, but as soon as I finished it, I couldn't really remember anything. So that kind of tells you like it was not worth remembering in my case, you know, and that's when you know it's a book you won't reread again. All I know is that we followed this girl who I believe had a brother who surfed, and he got injured really bad, or he died really, I don't really remember. Either he got injured or died from surfing, and ever since, like the whole family has been like, no surfing, they're forbidden that, because obviously they're scared. But this girl, she loves surfing and she would do anything to be out in the water again, and eventually she does. I think she meets this boy and he teaches her and to go out in the water again to overcome her fear. And it's a lot, it was very religious, it was just very religious, and on top of that you had a lot of surfing, so it was cool, but definitely not anything special, and definitely not something that I will reread again. It's cool if you do surf and you like surfing, but I've never surfed. Like, it's a cool concept to read about and it looks cool, it sounds cool, but honestly it was just not really something for me. The next book I'm going to unhaul is Better Off Dead, the new Jack Reacher by Lee Child and Andrew Child. I'm not even going to talk about this one because I think I read 2 chapters and then I wanted to puke. That was rude. No, but I really didn't like this. I bought this on a whim. I remember being at my local bookstore in my city, which is very small, and I remember seeing it and I just wanted to buy a book for the sake of buying a book. So I bought this one. I thought it looked really cool, and I have heard a lot about Jack Reacher. It's a very popular series, so I wanted to try it out. But it was not at all for me. I don't like action. I hate guns. I don't like the concept of these types of books. I don't like this genre, whatever you can call it, what this is. It was just really boring, and I would not imagine me ever picking this one up again, unfortunately. The next book I'm going to unhaul is Wicked Fox by Cat Show. I'm kind of sorry to see this one go because this is a popular book and it does have a sequel that I've also been meaning to read for ages, but I haven't done it, and I feel like that also says something. You know, I haven't really been interested in it, unfortunately, I guess. This was a really cool series. We follow this girl who found out that she was a gumio, is that what it's called? A 9-tailed fox. So it had a lot of cool mythology, and which I really appreciate in books, really cool mythology. And it also had a very sweet romance. So we had fantasy, mythology mixed with romance. It was a really cool story, but I've forgotten all of it. I don't want to reread it. I'm not interested in starting the next book anymore. I feel like I'm just over it, and I'm kind of sad over it because this series got really huge and I wanted to enjoy it more than I did, but I feel like you can't really force yourself to enjoy something that you are not enjoying. So I'm not gonna push it. I'm not gonna try to reread it because I am just getting bored. I feel boredom, unfortunately. So this is going to go. The next book I'm going to unhaul is going to be The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. I really enjoyed it when I originally read it, but I don't know if you guys have noticed, you guys that have been here for a long time, my reading taste have changed really much during like the past year, and I loved this when I read it, but now thinking about it, because I do remember it, I'm not interested anymore in it. Even has a sequel, but I'm not interested anymore into reading that, so why would I keep this one? It was a very simple, and I like simple fantasy, so that's not a bad thing. It was a simple, cool, magical fantasy book, and I really like the concept of it, but I'm just not interested anymore. I know it will be more appreciated somewhere else, and it would just sit on my shelves if I don't do anything about it. But I did think it was a really cool story, and I remember loving the cover, and it has such cool end pages as well, so that's a plus. But I don't want to keep the book just because of how it looks. So the next book I'm going to unhaul is going to be The Tea Dragon Society. Oh my god, I could just hear you guys. Like, I could just hear the surprise in your guys' voices. I know a lot of people are gonna not support this, and I'm so sorry. Like, I adored this book, and I know there are multiple books out there, but I had not picked up the sequel. But it's such a cute and magical book, and I do like to have more variety in my books. I do like to have some mangas, some graphic novels, some normal books, and some picture books. Like, I do like that, but it's just has sit on my shelf since I read it, and I'm not gonna reread it. And a part of me was like, oh, you should keep it like for your children in the future, but I was like, no, not a legit reason. I don't know why, but it is a beautiful book. Like, just look at that. I think you guys know, because this is such a famous book and it has become huge, and I did really enjoy it. It was cozy, magical, and cute, but I'm never gonna reread it. You guys know I don't want to keep books that I'm not gonna read again. I wanna, you know, make room for new books that I'm gonna enjoy. So unfortunately, this is going to go. The next book that I'm going to unhaul is going to be The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. I'm not even kidding when I'm saying that this is one of the books that have been on my shelves for the longest, and I've not picked it up yet. I've not read it, you guys. And like, at this point, I'm not gonna read it. If I haven't read it yet, I'm not going to. I'm not even interested in it anymore. So unfortunately. So obviously I don't know what this is about. I know it's a fantasy book, and I remember being excited about it when I got it, but I haven't been since. You know, I haven't even bothered to try to pick it up, so I'm not going to keep it. Unfortunately, this is going to go, even though I haven't tried it. This is so bad. This is so bad, you guys. Why do I keep buying books that I'm not even reading? Next book I'm going to unhaul is going to be Firekeeper's Daughter by Angelina Bowley. This was a really cool book that I read, I think 2 years ago when it came out, and I loved the cover. It was a cool story. We followed a teenage girl, I believe, that kind of got herself mixed up in some bad stuff, and we also had something interesting here. I think we had some sort of tribe, like some of the American Aboriginals, I don't really know, but something of that sort that she belonged to, and it was really interesting, very educational. I love getting new knowledge in books through mythology or like Aboriginal people. It's really great. It's cool to learn, you know. And I thought it was good at the time, but again, nothing special, and I did kind of forget about it after like 2 weeks. So unfortunately, I'm not gonna keep it. I would have wanted to, because I love the cover, I love the idea of it. I have not anything else like this on my shelves. Like, this is the only book that I've ever read that's been of this sort, you know, and I'm sad to see it go. But again, I don't want to have books just to sit there. Like, I want to be able to look at my bookshelves and be like, these books I enjoy, you know, and I am proud of them, you know, and I want to read them. And to just keep books all the time without thinking about it, like, no, I want to have books on my shelves that I really care for. So unfortunately, I'm gonna unhaul this. The next book I'm going to unhaul is going to be All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. Originally, I enjoyed this, or I didn't love it. I thought it was okay. And then a movie came out, and I remember trying to watch that movie, but I couldn't get through it because I got bored. It is a good book. Like, it talks about mental health, and it was really interesting. And the movie had, was it Elle Fanning or Dakota Fanning in it? It was like it was good, but nothing great, and I just felt bored. And even though it talks about important stuff, you still need something else. You know, even though it has important topics like mental health, which I enjoy reading about, you have to have something else that binds the book. I don't know. I feel like I did not care for the characters. I did not care for the story. The only thing I remember about this book is that it was sad, depressing, and talked about mental health. And then I remember, you know, Al or Dakota Fanning. I don't remember anything else. So unfortunately, I'm going to unhaul this. And the last book that I'm going to unhaul is going to be I'll Give You the Sun by J.N.D. Nelson. Okay, so this is also one of the few books that I've had on my shelf forever. This was one of the first books that I bought when I got into like booktube. I remember buying it at Book Depository when that was still a thing. Rest in peace, Book Depository. I've heard it's shut down now. That's sad. And I remember I've tried multiple times to read this book. I think I've tried 3 times to pick up this book and read it. And I've started it all the times, but I think I've gotten like 2, 3, 4 chapters in, and then I just never bothered to continue on because I haven't been interested. Might have been like, if I've given it the chance and really got into the story, maybe I would have enjoyed it. I've never been able to get into the story fully. I feel like I never cared for the characters, I never cared for the story, and this was like a huge book back in the day when like I started booktube. Everyone read it and everyone really enjoyed it, and you know, the cover is beautiful and it was supposed to be really like inspirational and motivational and beautiful, but I just never could finish it. And I feel like that says something, you know, that it wasn't for me. So unfortunately, I'm going to unhaul it. I would kind of want to give it another chance, but I know I'm not gonna, like, I'm just gonna get so bored because I did not care for anything as far as I read, you know? So unfortunately, I am going to unhaul this beautiful edition. But yeah, that was the books that I'm going to unhaul. I'm probably going to do more unhauls this upcoming summer for multiple reasons. But yeah, these were the ones that I really felt like I wanted to get rid of, and I feel really good about it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in one of my next videos. Bye.